everyone, and welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem, and I am in full-blown chaos here today. As you can see, we are doing our third and final stash series video using our watercolour pencils. I wish I could convey to you what has happened to get me to this point. Basically, I started what we were going to do, filmed it. Mr. Jem came in, knocked his coffee all over the table, so I had to start again. And then after that, my water brush packed in on me, and yeah, it's just kind of spiraled out of control from there. What we've got here, we've got 4 sets of watercolour pencils. These are the Staedtler ones, the Goldfaber Aqua, the Derwent Watercolour, and the Faber-Castell Albrechts. I have omitted the W.H. Smith pencils from this exercise because I don't think they are worth anything. I've also got a brand new set of water brushes here. My little skinny one, my yellow one, gave up on me and it burst. So I just decided to whip out the new set. The remaining 3, my old ones, they're actually okay. They're just well used. I've had them for about 4 or 5 years. I'm going to stick them in the stash shop real cheap. If anybody wants to have a wee shot of them, there's still life in them. They're just not new. So if that's something you fancy, because I'm a huge advocate for these brushes, head over to the stash shop on a Sunday and it'll be up in the following Sunday, I think, maybe. I'm digressing already and we're only 1 minute and 33 seconds into this video. Okay, for the purposes of this video, what I have done is Jessie from Eclectic Erudite had sent me some bits and pieces from her website shop not that long ago. So I've taken one of her images and I have greyed down the line art a little bit because we're going to use the watercolour pencils to do this, and I've printed it onto a thick cartridge paper. This was one of the issues I had. My printer jammed. It decided it no longer wants to take high quality 300 GSM watercolour paper. So what I've done is I have very faintly with an F pencil, I have split this picture into 4 separate parts, and we're going to use our 4 different sets of pencils to colour this entire image. I wanted this to kind of appeal to colourists a bit more as well, because there seems to be quite a lot of you that want to use watercolour pencils but aren't really sure what to do. So this is not a how-to, this is just how I use them if I'm colouring. So the main things we're going to be looking at in terms of the pencils today is sharpening, crumbling, that kind of thing, and you will be able to see them in a contextual sense actually right next to each other. So we're going to do our best to match the colours up in all 4 sections and we can see what it's going to look like. So let's just make a start. So I'm going to start with some leaves, and I'm going to start with this light green colour here. So say start with the Norris pencils. I'm going to go quite hard with these pencils today. I'm really going to push them and see what they can do, because after all, that's why we do these things. So generally, if I'm wanting to build up colour, I tend to put all my colours down first and then blend them out with water, and then I can go back in with the pencils dry if I want to add anything in. And you can see already the grey line art, it's not disappearing, but it's significantly less significant. Oh my goodness. So straight away with these little Norris pencils, I don't have much of a nib on that at all, just because they've got this white protective core, so these are going to need a sharpen. Fairly sharpish. Oh no. It's going to be one of those days today, guys. I'm really sorry. Everything today, from the moment I swung my legs out of bed this morning, everything has been a task. Everything has been a chore. And it's obviously just one of those days. I'm just glad it's the afternoon now and it's filming time, because that makes me happy. Obviously pencils make me happy too. Now, to get a nice little bit of definition and depth in here, I'm going to take this blue pencil and I'm going to go over the top of that. So that's going to go into like a turquoisey, like almost teal colour when we blend it out. If you don't have any confidence with watercolour pencils, you can just go 1 pencil at a time and blend it out, you know, with your water, and then go back. As long as you're using good paper, you shouldn't have too many problems with that. It should be easy enough for you to do that. And the nice thing about watercolour pencil is you don't have to be particularly careful, and your pencil skills don't have to be awesome, because you can manoeuvre and manipulate the pigment about with your paintbrush or your water brush. I tend to favour water soluble mediums. See, in days where my hand's really tight or I'm having a lot of spasms and things, it is a lot more forgiving to be able to squish stuff about with a water brush than it is just to use pencil. Okay, I think that's us for the greens. So I'm going to take my brand spanking new teeny tiny water brush. This might take a bit of work actually. And the other thing as well that I find quite nice is that you can kind of let the pencil decide where it's going a lot of the time. You don't have to be forceful with it. Now when you're doing this as well, it's better to start with your lighter areas and move into your darker areas gradually. Otherwise what happens is you end up dragging all the dark colour into the lighter areas and it kind of sort of muddies things up a little bit. So I'm jumping between the sections here because obviously I have to wait for each one to dry before I start on the next part, or else it's just all going to run in together. Right, we'll leave that to dry a little bit. And I think down here we've got this shell which is really cute, and we've got this lovely sort of peachy colour, so I think we might employ that down here. I may not be able to match this up in other pencils, but we'll worry about that when we get there. I don't know whether these are books or cloths. Jessie, if you're watching, can you tell me please? Right, this plant on the left hand side here, let's make it a different colour. So I'm going to start with a blue base here. So just a very light layer of this blue. I could maybe even have gone for the lighter blue, but I was thinking light blue for the background for some reason. And I think we'll take this magenta-y colour as well. And maybe we'll just run a little bit down one side like this. Now you can see already just the pencil on top of each other. It's given me that nice sort of teal colour that we were going for over here. There we go, we'll let it sort of jump over a little bit in there. And here I'm going to start with the pinky areas and then just wipe off my water brush a tiny bit. And then I can pull in this green colour. Oh, that's come out really nice actually. Okay, now for this frame, I think I'm going to make this a mirror in the background. So I'm just going to take the brown and we'll have this as, again, just like a base colour. And we'll maybe build it up with a few other things. Okay, so maybe if we use a little bit of yellow on top of here. And I'm going to use this light blue for the mirror. And I'm using that very sparingly because I want it to look as if it's got some reflections coming off of it as well. Okay, this is drying out, so I'm going to go back in with my pencil here, just on these shell areas. Okay, and with my larger brush here, I'm just going to like wishy-washy across here. I'm going to leave these, whatever they are, until last because I'm not entirely sure what I want to do with them. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start adding in this, what will be the wallpaper or the painted wall area. And again, I think I'm just going to put the yellow down for now because I haven't decided whether I want there to be a sort of focal point and, you know, like one bit lighter than the other. Obviously, when you're working in larger areas like this, a paintbrush, a big paintbrush, or even a larger, broader tipped water brush would be preferable. And this side is a little bit too much of the pale green, so I'm just going to go back over it here. And the same here. This is more about just adding detail where you want it. Okay, so with my larger brush now, I'm going to start working in some of this yellow. Okay, so we're off to a fairly good start there, so I'm going to leave that just now. And I think we're going to come down into this section here for this. So the first thing that I'm going to try and do is I'm going to grab the yellow and I'm going to work away just to match up with what's going on up there. So now we've got the same, this is part of this plant up here, these parts here. So we're going to have to go for a similar idea. So we'll start with the blue base and it's only teeny tiny little sections. And we're going to have that magenta stripe, aren't we? I don't really know what's going on. This is kind of like one of these ones up here. So I suppose we can have the pink stripe. Oh, it's only part of a pink stripe. Oh no. That's pretty much it for that plant. So let's see how these two greens in this set go together. And we'll do similar to what's been going on up here. We'll do that down here. Because this whole plant is in this one section. This is like much more of a viridian green. Completely outside the lines there, but never mind. Look, there's a wee cheeky one down the bottom here as well. Oh, goodness me, what are you trying to do to me? So again, this will probably be in shadow. So we'll give this a once over with a darker pencil and then stick in some of this blue as well. I actually quite like this without the watercolour part. Oh, goodness me. These ones over here, I imagine these look like monstera. Monsteras cheese plants, and their leaves are really quite a dark green. I've got one in my bedroom. They're also poisonous to dogs, which I didn't know until after I procured said plant. It's a plant I get on with because it doesn't need much watering. And yeah, it's in my bedroom so that it's nowhere near the dogs. But the dogs actually, they weren't interested in it anyway, but I just wanted to be safe. Especially with Pip, who tends to be the one to get herself into trouble if anybody's going to do it. Now this looks like a pot inside a wicker basket. So I've got this ochre colour. Now because I'm thinking, do we want this to be ochre or is this going to be a painted cabinet? I haven't decided, but I think we'll go, let's try this one here. For now. For now. I'm not saying it's going to stay this way. So I'm just going to block colour over all of this just now. And then have like a terracotta pot. We'll start with orange. I think we'll have this blue. And I'm going to want this to be curved, because it does have a curvature on it. So I'll have a sort of thicker, heavier layer of blue here. And then I'll fade that out, and I'm going to stick in this lighter blue here. Blend that in a little bit. It's going to end up quite a colourful picture by the looks of things. I think I'm going to go kind of like an orangey brown, so I'm beginning to regret what I've done here. Right, okay. I think what I'll do is, I'll do this door frame first, and I'll see how it goes. Okay, I want to start with this because I want to see how it looks. Okay, yeah, okay, why not? Why not? I think we're going to have to add a little bit of depth to that. I want it a lot deeper than that, so I would do the same thing again, but just, you know, another layer of it. So we've got the drawers here as well. We're only doing part of a drawer here. So there you go. That's the sort of closest thing to a straight gradient with the pencil and literally just like blending it out. But you can see that's worked out quite nicely, so we'll not complain. Yeah, the blues definitely made a much bigger difference in these gold Fabers than in that other one. Okay, for the frame of the unit here, there's quite a lot to this. It's got like this surrounding frame, which I think I want to be dark, dark, dark. So I'm just trying to sort of, oops, that didn't go well. Just trying to line that up a little bit. Now for these other sections around this cabinet, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it in reverse. So I'm going to have a light layer of this dark brown here, and then I'm just going to feed in patches of this ochre type colour, this really dark piece around the outside. Now that's actually turning out a lot better than I thought it would as well. Good! I love it when that happens. So you can see between the door and the surrounding area there is a little bit of a difference. It's not much, but it's just enough. So that's kind of working well, but we do need to do a little bit more work on that. We can't just leave that as it is. Now what I find quite interesting is look at the yellow from the Norris and then look at the yellow down here from the Gold Faber. Okay, so we've got this side to do now. Again, put this brown down. Okay, now my plant pot here. Not really sure what I want to do with this. Maybe it's just add some, yeah, there we go. Trying to get it looking a little bit more terracotta-esque. I'll do that little triangle. Okay, so down here, I really want this to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to pop in a smidgen of orange, just down in there. And then I think just because this is so pale, I was going to say peely-wally, there's a good Scottish word for you. Peely-wally, pale or washed out. I'm just going to go back over this. Don't you just love it? You come to the cave, you always get a Scottish lesson while you're here, whether you want it or not. It's like standard. Okay, fairly happy with that section. This is actually quite cool. I'm enjoying this just the way that it is. Right, let's stick the gold Fabers away and we'll get on to the Derwents next, I think. I say, well, we will pull these back out just to do some finishing touches, but sometimes it's kind of hard to do that when you've only got half the half the drawing done. And we're going to do this section over here, so we've got to try and tie in these plants and everything. So this is going to be moderately challenging, and I think again we'll start with, now this yellow is considerably deeper. This is like a deep cadmium, it's called. So there's probably not going to match up too well here with the old wallpapery painty wall situation. You can see that straight away, but that's okay. It was bound to happen, to be fair. If you're going to paint one picture with 4 different sets of pencils, you know, like there's only so much you can expect, really. I'm trying to figure out, yeah, that's a leaf. The most exciting part about this, of course, is deciding what colour I'm going to make this plant pot. I might make it blue as well, just to kind of like tie in. I only have one shade of blue here. That's not really an issue because we can just fade it out as it comes round here. Because if I remember rightly, the Derwent pencils actually travel quite far in terms of being able to move the pigment about. So we may be able to use that to our advantage here. Not convinced, but pull out our greens. I'm kind of having trouble deciding what belongs to what here. I'm just going to make that all one big leaf in there. And I think down in this section here we'll head in with the blue like we've done previously, see in here, and we'll really get some, you know, get some contrast and some definition. Now that in itself, without actually doing anything, has made this leaf pop out a bit better, which is kind of what we want. Just as pencils, these are much nicer to work with. I don't feel as if I'm using a watercolour pencil, like I can't feel any difference, which is quite nice. Maybe a bit drier than a standard pencil, but it'll be interesting to see how these go to... No, I don't really know what to do about these. Okay, I'll maybe leave that just now. Let's work on this cabinet. Now I do have this sort of ochreite and the dark brown again, so I should be able to carry this on, and obviously it's not going to be exactly the same. It shouldn't be wildly different, she says, rather hopefully. Get my knob in. This is a light smattering of brown. Listen to me talking myself through this so that it makes sense in my head. And then these actual parts here were going to be the ochre colour with smatterings of the brown. Trying not to confuse myself too much. Terracotta pot. Now, oh, this orange is so offensive. I really don't like orange as a colour. Like, it's just not, it doesn't make me happy in any way, shape or form. But this is particularly loathsome. Okay, so if I build up a fair bit of this here. This actually, oh look, that's just blending in as if it was the same pencils. Oh, that was a happy accident. Well, almost. Right, okay, I'm going to start in the middle here just because I want to spread this colour out a little bit, and then I'll go back to here and work my way over. Oh, the brown's much browner. That's about it. Right, okay, let's see what we can do with this. Oh, that's definitely more terracotta-y. Terracotta-y. The orange isn't so bad when you put it in with water, it's just when it's in pencil form, it's blinking awful. Okay, I've been kind of putting off these big leaves, but we're going to have to go for it. We're going to have to do it. I think what my problem is here is that I might actually just stick with this dark green and not bother with the blue in it. I don't know. I'm just going to cover the entire area with this green. Now, this is kind of what I was saying earlier. If you're not entirely confident, then just stick with one colour at a time, because if it says if you've got decent paper, then everything will be a-okay. Yeah, right, okay, this leaf's going to be my guinea pig. We'll go for it, why not? Okay, so we'll try that out first, and we'll see how horribly wrong it goes. And everything will be fine after that. Yeah, see, that's just kind of blending in with the frame round that drawer, whereas I didn't have that problem over here. But see, these colours are a bit more saturated as well. Okay, well that was underwhelming. I was expecting that to be a bit more, I nearly said violent there, vibrant. Yeah, I definitely have to build this up. Good grief, this is really wishy-washy. I was expecting a bit more oomph from that, if I'm honest. So I really didn't have anything to be scared of at all. It is blending out really nicely compared to some of the other ones though. That's it. Yeah. See, I was expecting it to come out like that. I still haven't had any crumbling or breaking from these pencils, which I'd heard so much about. I've had nothing. I'm not complaining at all. It's just merely an observation. I feel as if this was like an actual, like a proper artwork and I wasn't using 4 different brands of pencils, I feel as if I would have to spend a really long time like evening everything out here. Okay, I'm going to have to sharpen this dark green. No issues. Nice pointy point. That was the Derwent dual hole sharpener. That's just one of those kind of sharpeners that sits on my desk. Yeah, I was really hoping to get a little bit more out of these pencils. I was expecting a bit more oomph. I feel as if I'm drowning in a sea of mid-tones. That's the only thing I feel about this painting at this juncture. I really want some much darker tones, but I don't trust any of these sets of pencils enough to give me what I'm looking for without, you know, having to sit down and, you know, like for a couple of hours, I mean, and I'm really not in a position to be doing that right now. Okay, so for this last part now we're on to our Albrecht Dürer. So I've got my 12 pencils here as previously discussed twice. And we're going to finish off at this side and then I'm going to go back and maybe add in a few bits. As I say, I just feel as if I'm kind of swimming in a sea of mid-tones. There's kind of lacking some contrast, but we can deal with that in due course. So as before, I'm going to start with the wallpaper section because I just find that's an easy thing to do that helps kind of like pick out all the other details. So we can get that wang down here. Wang it down. I realised as well that when I was talking about the blue up here, I was telling Fibs I forgot I had the Prussian blue, so I might go back in with that. I see again, this is where I have problems distinguishing. You know, there's a lot of lines going on here. I just have to try and pick everything out. This is why I map out colours on almost everything that I do, for this very reason. Gem gets easily confused. Now see, this leaf disappears in here magically, so I don't know. I'm thinking this is probably mostly foliage. And we've got our 2 blues down the bottom here, so I can carry that on. And I'll do exactly what I did before. These pencils are so nice to hold them. And I know I said that last time, but they really are. They're really nice. And then the brown that I've got here is the Walnut Brown. Now I'm going to have this pink issue here with the shell. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to put a base of yellow down. And then very, very lightly run this pink over it. Okay, and for our leaves here, I'm going to take my pink. That pink is so vibrant. Wow. That's technically facing the other way. I've kind of messed that up, but I'm not going to split hairs. I can hear some very distressed mooing noises coming from the field next to the house, and I think a cow is calving, and if that's the case, I may have to vacate the area temporarily and make sure that she's okay. There's a very specific moo that's involved in that, and I suppose it's like labour pains noises from women, but it's a very distinctive type of moo, and it's an ouch kind of moo. The dogs are really unsettled today as well, and they're driving me bananas. Yeah, I'm going to have to go and check. Excuse me, guys. I was right, we have a cow that started calving, but she's only just started, so we'll give her a wee while and see if she manages on her own. Let's go back to the browns here. Finish off this wee corner. And then I can grab my greens again. I think I've decided, whatever this is, I've decided it might be a pile of cloths or something, and I'm going to make them red because, in fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to make them purple. I'm going to make them purple because we've got purple pencils and we can make it look pretty. That's picked up that ochre spectacularly, that tiny little splodge that I had. Okay, that's done a bit more than I thought I was going to do, but okay. Oh my. So I think this section here with the pink and the green, this is kind of like a dead giveaway for me in terms of the artist grade pencils. And if I just do that, you can see how bright that pink is, and it's not affecting what's going on with the green, because you can see there that looks kind of muddy, bearing in mind that there was blue involved as well. So this is, you know, it's all very interesting, but oh, a rogue blue stripe there. Blend that in a bit more. There we go. A little bit flicky motion, and I'm going to mix in a little bit of brown here as well, especially at the base. Right, now I've got this yellow to do in the background. As I can hear one of the staff out on a quad bike now. You must have heard that cow as well. I didn't actually know he was here. I thought he was elsewhere. Gold star for you, my boy. Maybe these are towels. Face cloths? I don't know. I don't know. But what we do want to do is get some pink in here. Now in the Derwent set I do have purple and pink as well, which is handy because this was the Derwent side. Slightly different shade given, but I actually really like that purple in the Derwent set. The pink not so much. Or is that supposed to be red? I think that's supposed to be red. Okay. Whatever. Right, now from my perspective, there's actually, I don't know if I see a difference in things or not. I think at this point I've probably spent too long with these pencils generally, and I'm probably at the stage where I can't see the wood from the trees, or the plants in this case. In terms of usability, definitely for me, every time it's the Norris and the Albrechts. In terms of actually creating any sort of colouring with them, they're, to me, I mean, you can see the pigmentation difference, but look how much, like, look at these plants up here with the Statler Norris. And I'm not finished yet. I can still go in and change things and fix things and tweak things, and that's exactly what I intend to do. Now, I'm just going to create a wee shadow here. Forgot about that earlier on. So in terms of actually creating an artwork, to me the gold Fabers are the one that fall flat. They look really washed out and really pale compared to everything else. But we're going to start touching up now and just make this look a little bit more, you know, give it a bit of oomph. So again, I'll start with the Norris, and I'm just, and I'm just going to like work my way around. I try and avoid using black as a shadow colour or as a contrast colour, because I just find sometimes it's a bit, it gets things a bit muddy and kind of mucky looking. It can be used sparingly. I'm not saying don't use it, and I would never say don't use it, because pencils are there to be used, and it doesn't matter what colour you want to use. For me, I just find that there's other, like, better ways of doing things. I'm really happy with the top part of this plant. Like, I'm really, really happy with it. Very difficult though without continuing it, you know, like all the way down into the next part. And I don't really know what to do with this section up here. I'll move on to the Derwents just so that I can keep some sort of consistency in my way around. Now, the first thing that I'm going to fix is my plant pot situation here. I could do so much more with this. Having just come from the Statler, these feel really dry and scratchy. Not scratchy, but they do feel dry. Okay, let's go with that. Now that looks a little bit better. It's just got a little bit more, you know, a little bit more about it, so to speak. So let's start in this light area. Move this about a bit. Okay, that's better. It's given us a little bit of contrast there. The other thing as well though is that I feel like we should have, like, this should be a little bit darker in here. And it's all these weird like tweaks and funny things that you don't necessarily see to begin with that you realise, oh okay, we do need to do this. And I kind of want to do the same all the way down in here. And I know I'm running the risk here of having everything the sort of same shade of ochre. Now, purple might seem like an odd colour to be using here, but it's a really good colour for adding in a little bit of contrast without having to go back to the black that we were talking about. And as you can see, it's not really impacting the green, you know, it doesn't look ridiculous. I really want to, I might run the risk here, but I'm going to do it. Just what I'd put down on top before. I just feel like this green should be a lot more vibrant than it actually is, and I'm a little bit disappointed, to be honest. I really want to start layering up this mineral green, but to be honest, I'm not sure it's going to make any difference. Okay, that's better. That's a bit more, well, yeah, okay. It's still not great, to be fair. Now this is about the only place I'm going to use some black, and I really want to get some definition in the different areas of this cabinet as well. Now what that's done is it's made my little leaf pop out there, which is what I was looking for. Not really an orthodox way of doing things, but just because everything's all kind of like crammed in there, that kind of made sense. And again, I'll need to wait for that section to dry, but with the brown, like this is going to be way darker in here. And again, picking a colour like the Prussian blue, usually a better option than black. And so you can blend it out to nothing. Do you see what I mean though? It's just giving you that little bit of oomph that it needs, because that's all tucked in behind there, so therefore it is going to be darker. And it's helping these leaves pop out a bit more as well. I don't know what I'm going to do down in here, because this is going to end up really messy. I might just pop this in pencil and not do anything else with it. Now I'm not going to activate this. Just going to leave it there. Oh, I'm jumping into other sections, how dare you. Let's grab this. Now again, if I use the purple here, and then I can use the black. Okay, much happier with that section now. My plant leaves look a bit better as well, which is always nice too. Right, okay, and we move on to the gold Fabers, which is the bottom section here. Now this is where I feel I'm lacking the most in terms of contrast. But if I just stick in a few lines here and there, I don't even necessarily need to... I do have to sharpen this. Let's see how this sharpens. Same sharpener, the Derwent 2-hole. Yeah, that's not bad. That indicates almost like a bit of a shadow in there, which it's not really, but I suppose it kind of is. This blue is working beautifully with these green pencils. It really is. This is a lovely combination, these three pencils. And it's one that I would use again. We can add in a little bit of texture while we're going here. It's not imperative at this stage, but... Look how much better the Derwent side looks now though. It looks good. Looks good. Okay, and we'll just nip back to these Albrecht Dürers before we call it a do, as my husband would say. I'm not sure that there's a huge amount that I want to do in here, if I'm honest. I do want to just get that little line in. In fact, that should run right across because that piece of wood's on top of that. And then maybe down the inside. Well, that's the only part you can see it really. Now, in terms of our bits and pieces that are going on with these leaves, again, if I just grab the blue and follow on, you know, what I was doing on this side at the top here. Okay, that's better. I'm a lot happier. The last thing I want to do is add in this little bit of ochre down here. Okay, a bit happier with that. That's better. Oh, okay. We've kind of cuddled up a wee bit. But there you go. That is our last outing with our watercolour pencils. Oh, I forgot about Michelle. Hang on. Not Michelle as in the name, as in my shell. Because I feel that this should really be like this. And then we'll grab some purple. Okay, that's better. Right, anyway, stop there. Stop. So, yeah, this was really good fun today for me, and it's really just confirmed what I felt already. That for the price of the Derwents, they're good pencils, but I just felt a little bit underwhelmed by them. For the same money, you can get some Albrecht Dürers, which I like because they're chunky. So this just really, it's just confirmed what I kind of already knew. The Staedtler Norris pencils are really good value for money just because they're so cheap. They're not gonna stand the light fast test, and you're not going to be able to create really deep, you know, colour mixes and things with them. But they're great. I try not to be biased with these things, but between the Albrecht Dürers and the Derwents are good pencils. They're nice and pigmented. I would still lean towards the Albrecht Dürers. They're the same money. These pencils are the same money. And if I had to fork out that kind of money for watercolour pencils, I would rather go with these. The Gold Faber, they're exactly where they are in the price range. They're just middling. They'll do a job for you. Again, there's nothing wrong with them. They're nice pencils. They're just that sort of mediocre in the middle. If you're looking for a step up from the likes of the Staedtler pencils, but you don't want to chuck tons of money at it, because let's face it, the artist grade pencils are expensive, the gold Fabers are a great alternative. But solely from this picture, I've managed to get a really nice bit of depth and, you know, a little bit of variation there with these Norris pencils. And when it comes to the likes of down here with my pot, I'm much happier with what's going on here than I am with what's going on with the Derwents. So that is just my opinion, but as I said in the last video, just by giving you these sort of brain farts, I hope that helps you make up your mind if it's something that you're thinking about, or maybe it's just something that's interesting to you. Either way, I get to colour a picture today. I've had fun. Hopefully my day is going to be a little bit better. I'm going to go and check my cow and see if she's had her baby yet, and if she hasn't, I might have to go and help her. I want to thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you are going to look after each other. Please stay safe, and I will see you back in the cave on Sunday for another video. So have a good day, everyone. Bye for now.